Hello from Anita's Kitchen again. I was able to dig out my best friend in the kitchen, my knife set. Very important to know which knife to use. We're going to do today is we're going to make a super salad. There's a bunch of different ways that you can combine vegetables and snacks like nuts on top of the salad. And if you're ever worried about protein and a parent not getting enough protein, this is a way to sneak it in without them knowing. It's a nutrition-packed salad, and I guarantee if you do a couple of things this way, you will get my mother to eat all her salad, all her veggies, just like she used to tell us when we were a kid, eat your veggies. Okay, so here we go. A different cutting board today because I am going to be cutting and shredding lettuce. So I know my mom and dad generally like lettuce that has iceberg and romaine, and my sister Paulette has been buying the kind that has little shredded carrots and red cabbage, and they seem to like that as well. So we'll start with the lettuce, and one of my favorite knives in the kitchen is a chef's knife. And the reason that I like it is that it cuts fast. It's very sharp, so you have to be very careful with it, but it really does what it's supposed to do when you're trying to chop vegetables or even herbs and nuts. So this is the knife that I like to use, and my parents do have a set of knives in the drawer, the second drawer next to the sink on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna pull out a little bit of this lettuce. Actually, I'm gonna make a big one so that you can see a couple of different variations. So lettuce first. One of the biggest keys for my mother, she likes sweets. So generally we try to keep her away from cookies and cakes and things like that around dinner, because she will definitely put the dinner aside and not want to eat the dinner and go straight for the donut or the piece of cake. So this way, we're going to get some nutrition in her and also trick her mind into thinking that, not actually tricking her mind, just tricking her eyes. So one of the best things that I can do for her, at least in my experience cooking for them, is she and my dad love pears. So I have a pear here. We're going to use pear, cucumber, some grape tomatoes, and some added things like this broccoli slaw for some added nutrition. And then I have just an assortment of nuts, and I will show that to you in just a minute. And a red pepper. I don't have a yellow one. I would normally use a yellow one because we have red in the pear, red in the tomatoes, and this should really be orange so that there's a rainbow of color that stimulates her eyes, and is flavorful and is really nutrition packed. If you're ever doing the shopping for them, I don't think you will, because I'm normally doing that. When you pick out peppers, either the red, the yellow, or the orange, the darker the color, the more nutrition it has in it. So if you see a red pepper that is a little bit pale, or it's not quite all the way red, it's not going to have as many nutrients as one that's as dark as this one. So that you can use for your own shopping information as well. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to first go ahead and slice the pear in half. For my mom, I will peel the skin off because she has trouble with skin. I don't know why, but all of a sudden, just a little while ago, the last few years, I guess, she has a problem with skin on a red pepper, peels on apples or pears. So just for the sake of not having to fight with her to eat her food, I make it as easy as possible for her to make sure that she eats all of the food that's on her plate, that I'm going to put on her plate. So I'm going to put these peelings aside. Okay, and then I cut the pear in half again, and then I actually take the core of the pear out. And normally I have a core tool. There is one at the house in the drawer where all the silverware is. So you can actually use a corer as opposed to doing it like this. But since I can't find that, we're gonna do it like this. So first thing is, and also you have to make sure that when you're cooking for her that you don't leave anything in the food that could potentially make her start hallucinating, because she always thinks that she sees bugs. And if you encounter that at the dinner table, all you need to do is give her a little reassurance. No, I've cooked this meal for you. I've made sure it's all safe. We wouldn't let anything hurt you. We wouldn't give you anything that's bad for you. So that's why I just peeled that little piece of skin off, because she would have probably looked at that and thought that it was a bug. And if you notice, when she's eating, she will pick something up and she will examine every single side of that food or that morsel on her fork until she will actually put it in her mouth to eat it. Okay, so here we go. So I take and I slice the pear nice and thin. And I try to keep it together because it's easier to do what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to put it back together so you can see what I'm going to do. So there we go. Now I'm not going to be able to put it back together the way I cut it. Okay, so let's just try it. I'm going to try my best here to get this back the way that I cut it. Because again, this is a little bit of a trick that we're going to do in order to make sure she eats all her food. So you hide things. The things you have to do is you have to hide things in her food so that she has to dig underneath the salad to get to her the sweet stuff that she really likes. So that's really how I discovered that she would eat everything, doing it this way. And, you know, again, pear has a lot of nutrition in it, and so you want to get as much nutrition into her as possible. So, okay, with hers, I generally cut the pears again in half. And then take her plate, and I put the pears onto the plate like this. I don't have all my tools, so everything is not working the way I want it to, but that's okay. You get the idea. And I take a little bit of lettuce and make sure that I've got some of those colored pieces in here. And she only needs a little handful, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna chop it so fine so that she doesn't pick it out of her mouth and she can't chew it, or she can't do what she'd like to do. She'll think it's like skin and she won't be able to chew it. It's too chewy for her. So we need to break it down into as smallest possible cut for her. And then she can. It's the other thing with Alzheimer's patients, in the time that she, in the stage that she is in, creamy things, soft things, they're really, they start forgetting how to swallow. I'm sure you've seen already that you're having problems with her eating or taking her medication, taking her pills. So cutting things this small also ensures that she'll get nutrition. She actually likes salad. She used to eat a lot of salad when she was younger, and she used to feed us a lot of salad. So again, I don't have my tool with me, but I take all that chopped lettuce and put it over the pear, and then I kind of cover it so she doesn't really see it. And then I take cucumbers, and of course for her, I peel it, and she likes these little baby ones. And I think, again, because she can handle smaller pieces of food, the smaller that you can prepare her meals, the pieces of food, then you're more likely to have luck with her eating all her food without having to coax her. So as long as she's sitting there and somebody's having, she's keeping her company, or my dad is keeping her company, she will keep eating and eating, and that's a good thing. So the other thing is that we don't want you to pick up my dad's plate when he's done eating, because if she doesn't see a plate in front of him, she's going to want to give him her food. So he can just keep saying, no, thank you, I've had my own. So here's showing her the dishes is a good thing. So, okay, for hers, again, I cut the cucumbers in half and just cut them really small. Cut them horizontally first, and then in slices, like little half moons. And sprinkle those over the salad. And then, again, I know this is a little overboard, but I usually cut her little tomatoes in half, because if she puts the whole thing in her mouth, she'll chew it, get chewy, stringy skin, and then she'll spit the whole thing out. So this way, at least she'll eat a little bit more of the tomato. And then a couple of little slices of the broccoli slaw. Again, this is raw, so it has as many, it has all its nutrients. We haven't cooked it, we haven't steamed it, we haven't done anything to it. So it has all of its nutrition intact. And then again, you see the little carrots adding a little bit of color there. And that's helpful, again, for her, that it visually pops. Alicia had the brilliant idea of, when we were having trouble with her eating, the brilliant idea of having a plate that's black before a salad for my mom. Of course, it's not going to be this big, because you would be splitting this up between my dad and my mom. But I always put a half a pear for my mother. So again, I think we're done pretty much with the basics. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put some protein in there. So we can either use pine nuts. Pine nuts they actually grow inside a pine cone. And if you look at the edge, I don't know if you can see that, if you look at the tip, it actually has a little brown spot on there, and that's where it was connected to the pine cone. They're real buttery in flavor. They're high in calorie and fat, but that's okay for somebody like my mom who needs all the calories that she can get. So there's pine nuts. We could also use slivered almonds. We can also use walnuts and pistachios. And pine cones, or I'm sorry, pecans. My mom, when she was little growing up in San Antonio, she had a pecan tree growing in her yard. So these are the kinds of things that I would talk with her about when we were sitting down to have dinner, because if you engage her in conversation, while she's eating. Yes, she will take a little bit longer to eat, but it ensures that she's probably going to eat it all. So, you know, you might say something to the effect of, "Oh, I understand that you used to have a pecan tree in your backyard when you were a little girl." And of course, she'll repeat the story over and over, but that's okay because then you can say, "So I guess you like pecans in your salad," and she will answer you. And these are just little things to prompt her to eat more food. And really, all it is patience, sitting there and taking some time to make sure that she finishes her meal. My dad's getting to the point where he's kind of weak and he falls asleep. But if you're there with her, then, you know, at least she's conversing with someone and she's still eating. So whatever choice, you know, since I have pears in here, I would probably put walnuts on this salad because pears and walnuts go well together. So again, I just chop them up and then sprinkle them on top as like the topper. And then another key thing that I've discovered, and again, this goes back to the texture thing. The newest ingredient in my arsenal when I'm cooking for her is Greek yogurt dressings. Again, when they get to this point where she is in her Alzheimer's, they like creamy things, soft things. And yogurt, Greek yogurt, has a lot of protein in it. So once again, we have the nuts, we have a dressing with Greek yogurt in it. And so that in itself makes this salad really protein rich. So if she didn't eat the meat at lunch, you don't have to worry about it because she's got a lot of protein here. And the dressing just kind of gives it an extra kick. So what then I do is I pour the dressing on her salad. And she likes ranch. We haven't had a chance to find the yogurt dressing that she likes, but we are definitely working on trying to find it in the grocery stores there in Chicago. So I will pour the dressing over her salad, and then I normally just give her a little bit of dressing on the side, because whatever else she's eating with the meal, you'll notice that she'll dip into it. So if it is a piece of steak, she'll dip that steak in there and she'll swirl it around and then she'll eat it. So if she always has something creamy on her plate, then more likely again you're going to get her to eat more things. So in this case I put salad dressing, but you can put applesauce or cranberry sauce, or sometimes depending on what you're making, some sour cream or some cottage cheese. But as far as the salad goes, super salad for mom. Dad loves it. We'll make sure that they always have the kind of lettuce they want, and if we can't find that because it's pea pod, oftentimes they'll substitute it, but I will try my best to always make sure that it's the lettuce that they like so that you don't have problems with her eating. Okay, so that's today's cooking, not really cooking, but today's recipe, super salad. And again, you have all these different kind of nuts. You can put different kinds of fruit in there. You can put different ingredients. You could put grapes in there instead of the pears. Any combination of fruits and nuts in a salad really ensures that my mother is going to eat the salad and will actually enjoy it. So, good salad eating to you, and good luck making your super salad. Thank you.